Well, this is the main fighting trench. So that was a trench that defended their battalion headquarters, their observation post. So they started construction of this trench after the winter of 1914, 1915.
Yep.
So it was here already in the spring of 1915, and it's the main defensive line around the site.
Mm-hmm.
So we have one facing or leading from north to south, and it makes a corner down at the bottom of the field, and there's another section going east to west.
Okay.
So this is the north-south position trench, so front line is in that position.
All right.
But the front is actually there, but the fighting, the trench is facing that way, defending the bit off behind me.
Okay.
So I'm actually standing in a traverse, so the fire bay is over there, so if there was any fighting, soldiers would be positioning themselves over there.
Yeah, okay.
So that's a long stretch, and this is more the traverse to defend soldiers there. If there was a blast there, only soldiers in that section would be harmed, and these would be safe because the blast wouldn't be able to get to them there.
Yeah.
As you can see, this trench is a lot deeper than the 1914 trench, and it's made in a much more methodological way. So you have always the fire bay, and then a rounded traverse, fire bay, rounded traverse. So that's always that same pattern coming back. The length of the fire base may differ a bit, but it's always that same pattern coming back. And you can also see that they did a lot more effort to construct the trench to make it more permanent. Well, the other one, the 1914 trench, was just made for fighting, but not to last longer than the battle itself.
Yeah.
Whereas this one was made as a defensive line, and it had to be here for longer than just a few weeks.
Right.
So they used wood as revetments on the sides to prevent the walls to collapse. They made floorboards on the ground as well. So you can still see some of that down here. So you can still see the small boards from the duckboard-wise construction. So it's not the type of duckboards that Allied used, because they were mobile, they were prefabs. These were timber, and they were nailed down in situ here. So the principle is the same. So you have small planks. With some space in between so that all the dirt could fall in between. And there was a drainage channel running underneath that. And then you have the wood on the walls. There's a little bit remaining here.
Okay.
There's some more here. And that was hauled against the wall with or iron stakes, metal stakes, or wooden poles.
Okay.
To prevent the wall from falling in. What you can also see here and down here, coming up here, and there's some more here, are cables, communication wires. So that was telephone.
Right.
The telephone communication connection between all sides of the trench as well. So far we found two different cables. We have one with a white coating, and then there's one with a orange painted coating as well.
Is there a reason for that?
We still need to find out what the difference is, but probably two different functions. But we didn't figure it out.
Some of the other trenches I've seen in the past have had a lot more wood. So there's not much wood. So why?
There was a lot more wood down here when the war was here.
Right.
But as you can see, this is really dry. I'm standing at about almost 2 meters below the surface, and there's no groundwater coming up. Even in that pit behind me, that is even deeper.
Yeah.
It's completely dry.
Yeah.
So this terrain drains very well. The groundwater level is low, so that means that there's no water. No water means a lot of oxygen.
Okay.
And when there's oxygen, the rotting process can start. And that's why in trenches, for example, closer to Ypres in the lower areas, most of the Allied trenches actually, they were constructed in more waterlogged areas where the groundwater level was much higher. And because they were below the groundwater level, there was no oxygen and they couldn't rot away. So very often the preservation there is excellent. It's like new wood.
Right.
But here we just had to do it with some rotten pieces and some stains in the ground to tell us how the construction was made. And then down here you have a cross section of that trench, so
Yep.
you can actually have a good idea of how deep it was compared to the 1914 trench. And you can also see how this was dug very methodological. You can have like straight cut of a wall,
Right.
straight bottom floor,
Yep.
and then again but more in steps going that way.
Right.
And then you can also see the bricks down at the bottom, and they were used as a base
Okay.
for the floorboards. So the floorboards that you can see over there
Mhm.
were resting on top of this brick or this pile of bricks.
Right.
You can still see some of the stains from the wood,
Yeah.
from those planks that were on top of it.
Yeah.
And those bricks had a double use because first they gave a firm base as a good base to put your boards on,
Mhm.
but they also provide a good drainage.
Yeah.
Because the water can find its way in between the bricks, whereas if you have just an open drainage pipe or something, all the mud can get stuck in between. Here, there's bigger chance that there'll always be an opening for the water to escape. And there was so many bricks available because of all the buildings. So you don't see that everywhere, but when they were available, they used them.
Right. So it's almost
It's-
building a drainage system. On
Yeah,
down
and it's
below.
it's free construction material because they were,
From all the wreckage. And
Yeah.
Again, because it's a village that's getting destroyed,
Yeah.
and then they're taking that and they're just
they
using
use
that
all.
to.
We even found parts of what most likely is something from a church or some Gothic building because we had a carved stone with like rosary or something.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you could see that it was chopped into something
Yeah.
that was made for a corner of a more Gothic building. So they reused everything that they could find.
And then this bit here, why is it kind of stepped a little bit? Is that just
That's
the
probably
digging?
just practical for the guys to get out.
Okay.
But what you can see is all those layers in here.
Mhm.
You can even see it much better down here.
Yeah.
So that's our natural soil. That's the soil that's been formed in over a period of thousands of years.
Right.
And you can see how
They
that
do.
trench cut through all those
Yeah.
ancient layers.
And it is literally to get the angle just to